So please stand up and a loud ovation for your next head basketball coach, Gerry McNamara.
I love you too, and you know it. It's like an old Georgetown game where people couldn't even see the court when I'm looking back here. I can't even tell you how honored, how blessed I am for this moment to be here. It really is kind of a dream come true for us. You know, but you don't get to these moments single-handedly. You know, it's not a solo mission. I've had a ton of help along my journey. And, this past 2 years was a really rewarding one for us, for my wife, our kids, to get the opportunity to be a part of the Siena community, where for the first time I was able to go off and be a head coach, cut my teeth. The people of that community, the Capital Region, you know, President Chuck Seifert, John Dargenio, Lori Anktel, Drew Santandera, Mike Demos, Anthony Anto Policia, Father Kevin Mullen, Lynn Young, all the people I worked with, and there's many more, Kyle Adam, the people I worked with at Siena. You know, they believed in me. They gave me an opportunity. And the support was there right from the start for me. I was set up for success because of these people. And the Capital Region, you know, welcomed our family. You know, the biggest fear for us leaving here was when we left the community here as finding schools for our kids. You know, we go to, and all of a sudden, CBA Albany takes care of our oldest. St. Pius, their church and parish, take care of our 3 other ones. Just really, really blessed for this past 2 years to live in another incredible community. It's helped me get to here. And one of the reasons I'm here, one of the biggest reasons, Doc, is to my players and my staff that I was so blessed to work with at Siena. I'm pretty sure everybody was watching the Duke game, if you haven't seen us. Everyone watched that one, but we were actually pretty fun to watch other than that. You know, but the first team meeting we had with our group when we first got them was all about the responsibility that we had to the community. We owed it to the Siena community to make sure that the product that they watched was one worth watching, one that they could be proud of. You know, when we take over year 1, have the 9th best turnaround in the country as our first year, and you know, we flip that to this year, and you have 23 wins, a MAC championship, and you're off to the NCAA tournament before you know it. That's a team to be proud of. You know, so for the kids that I coached, how incredibly connected they were, how professional they were. You know, they practiced with intent. There was never a bad day. I'm so forever grateful for this past season, and I wouldn't be here. Coach, you know, Coach Boeheim knows, like every coach, we all have got an ego, but the reality of it is when you have good players, it makes it a lot better. I had really good players. They helped me look better. They played as hard as they could, and you know, again, I'm so proud of what I went through. You know, this past 2 years, forever grateful for the community and the teams that I had at Siena. Now, the other thing, I've got a lot of people in here, Brett, Just, Cav, my 2 agents that I've got to thank, you know, in terms of motivationally pushing me, not just as my agents, but friends. They've encouraged me to grow as a coach, to be completely transparent. A few years ago when the Siena job came open, I almost didn't take it. And I didn't take it almost didn't take it, because of my loyalty here. And it was those two that convinced me, like, you're ready, you need to do this, it's your time. So I'm forever grateful for you too, not just your professional guidance, but your friendship. I'm always, I vent, I confide, and you're always there for me. My mother and father, who are here today. Yeah. They're not just here today. They've been here the whole time, everything I've ever done, the support that I've had. One of the great things and memories of my life after I was offered this job, and we were going to sign the contract, was when I got a chance to FaceTime my mother and father and to tell them, I'm about to sign a contract to be the head coach at Syracuse University. I've been supported. Everything I feel like I am as a person, as a man, as a husband, a father, I learned in that household. And I was lucky to be the youngest of four. My siblings are here, Bridget, Maureen, and Timmy. Timmy kicked my rear end the majority of my young life. But this is how lucky I am. The biggest heartbreak of my professional career was when we took Duke to the wire. And I was heartbroken for my kids. I really was. I thought we played well enough to win. We just kind of ran out of gas. But when I got back to the hotel, not just Katie and my children, but Bridget, Maureen, and Timmy were there. Daniel Haggerty, my brother-in-law, Megan. I've got so many people in my family, my life, my siblings, my in-laws. My mother-in-law, Margaret's here. I told the story on my senior day. I have the fairy tale in-law story. And some people might have the horror story. She's an angel. She's a saint. The last move we made with my children, I called them brave for changing communities. When I look at them now, they're a lot bigger than 2 years ago when I was doing my last press conference. My son I was already angry he had a better golf swing than me. He's now taller than me at 14. But I'm so proud, I'm so proud of your bravery to continue to change communities. But this one, as brave as you are, I think you're happy today getting to come home and be a part of this community. And, my wife, we've lived in Greece twice, Bakersfield, California, Reno, Latvia, Loudonville, and now, of course, Syracuse. You've sacrificed so much that it's not even, you put everyone before yourself. Me, the kids. Going into the last job, my wife said something to me in passing. She said, our happiness is simple. And the way I took that was, yes, it is. It's very simple because it's us. It's always going to be us. We're in this together always. But as I take this job, it's not as simple as that. Our happiness is simple because you make it so easy for us to be happy. There's no one I love and truly admire more than you. To Chancellor Haney, John Wildhack, Brian Blair, thank you. Thank you. For believing in me, believing in the vision for what this institution should be, the direction of the program, I'm getting to know Chancellor Haney and Brian a little bit better over the last few weeks. Let me tell you something about Brian. Brian Blair is a competitor. He's a competitor. The first conversation he and I had was a phone conversation. We talked for like 35 or 40 minutes. He asked me a simple question at the end of this. He said, "Hey, Coach, you have any questions for me?" I said, true story, right? I said, "No." I said, "Brian, listen, I know you got a job to do. I just want to let you know, if you need my help, you need anything else from me, just reach out. It's my cell phone. But I'll tell you this, you're going to love Syracuse. You're going to fall in love with the place." So, second time we had a conversation was in person, okay? Brian asked the same simple question. He said, "Coach, you have any questions for me?" I said, "Matter of fact, I do. What are you looking for in a head coach?" And this is when I saw him. Like truly, fully, for the first time, saw him. And he leaned in, and we were close at this point, we were a few feet there. And with conviction, and I've seen it before, he looked me in the eyes and said, "I want to win. No matter what, I want to win." I said, "Now you're speaking my language." And I think it was really that statement from Brian, for me, where it went from being an interview, to really motivationally aligned. Like we're lockstep. Same mentality, same goals, same direction. Now since then, I've learned that he likes the outdoors and he loves to fish. Like if this dude listens to Pearl Jam, we might as well go do karate in the garage together. Anyone get that? Movie buffs. But I'll tell you this, straightforward, man to man, I cannot wait to get to work with you. Now, 26 years ago, it's terrifying, I know, but 26 years ago, the first time I walked through Gate A, probably right around here, and saw the dome for the first time. The JMA Wireless Dome for the first time. And I looked down, and it was the summer camp, so the courts were on. And I knew, man, I knew right away. That was the first time you saw me, Coach. I knew right away, I'm coming to school here. Well, you had to offer me that night, and you did, so smart man.
You thought about it.
Yeah, second guess. But I went home, and my imagination ran wild, like envisioning a packed house, championships, making threes. Hopefully, making threes, And I'll tell you what happened. I came here, and for the next 4 years, Coach, what happened? Packed house, championships, and threes, a lot of them. But there was a different experience. There was something else that happened during this 4-year stretch of my experience. What happened was my love. My love grew for the people of this city, for the university that gave me an opportunity to showcase my gifts on the biggest stage. And I knew that it was going to be difficult one day to leave here. So I didn't. And I don't plan on it anytime soon. Now, here's the reality, all right? We've got work to do. We do. But this right here is what separates us from 99.9% of college basketball. Yeah, it's a fact. Yell it louder. It's a fact. Yep. Now, we're going to put together an elite staff here. All right, elite at skill development. They're going to have character, experience, multiple levels, both from the grassroots level to the NBA level. You know, some familiar faces, some new faces. And what we're going to do when we get the staff together a week from tomorrow starts the portal, when the frenzy starts. All right, and that's when recruiting happens. Now, recruiting's got to, where it's got to start is right here at home base. Right here. All right, the first part of recruiting has to be retention. All right, the cupboard ain't bare here, guys. I watched this group. There's some talent with this roster. Now, those conversations are they've been taking place. I've met with these guys last week. I'll meet with them again this week out of privacy for them because they have opportunities, representation. You know, we'll keep those private, and we'll see what we can do with some of these guys to move the program forward. But they will be taking place this week, those conversations. You know, but I've done this. This will be the second time in my career doing it. My message here does not change. It doesn't change. Every team that I coach, that we put on the court, is going to be ready to play. They will be prepared. Now, you could talk about style. You know, a lot of coaches will come up here and be like, we're going to play fast. You know, it's like a lot of people will do that. We were #1 in offensive efficiency in our league, and we were a top 15 team in the country in defensive points per game allowed. So what am I bringing here? Efficient. We're going to be efficient. We're going to be smart. We're going to have ball security. We're going to be tough, resilient. We're going to have high character. You know, I ask every kid that plays for me in every recruitment, I said, I need your respect and your maturity, non-negotiable. Give me those two things. Give me those two things, we'll get along just fine. But make no mistake, you know why I'm here. Anybody that knows me knows why I'm here. I'm here to win. It's who I am, and it's who I will always be. Let's get this thing going.